Hey everybody, it's Justin Spittler here, aka JSpit Trades, with another video. In this video, we're going to look at semiconductors, which have been one of the hottest areas of the market as of late. It's an industry that I've been particularly bullish on. If you follow me on Twitter at JSpit Trades, you've probably seen some setups, semiconductor stocks that I've been sharing. And I also shared in my last video, I shared 5 semiconductor stocks, and all those actually had really good weeks. So we'll review some of those, and I'm going to share some new semiconductor setups that I'm watching with you today. Before we dive into those new setups, let's take a look at the big picture. So this is just SMH. This is a semiconductor ETF. You could also use stocks, and it'll basically paint the same picture. But I'm starting things off by looking at this because it just tells us how the overall industry is doing. You can see it's done very well after putting in this inverse head and shoulders pattern and breaking out. It came back down and had this retest and just rocketed off that level, and actually came up and attempted to break out to new all-time highs here, and it got rejected on its first attempt, which is not anything unusual. To me, this just means that semiconductors as a group could take a little bit more time to break out. But based off of what we saw the past week, just really the past few weeks actually, there's a very strong bid for risk assets, for assets that have been leading the market. I was actually under the impression that semiconductor stocks could pull back a little deeper, but the dips have been really shallow, which shows overwhelming demand for semiconductor stocks. I think part of that is you could attribute to the excitement around AI, which is the dominant investing narrative right now, or it could just be as simple as, we're in a new bull market and these are the leading stocks, and everyday investors and institutions want to own those leading stocks, so they're gobbling up the dips like crazy. So either way, at this point, I think it's probably only a matter of time before semiconductor stocks break out to all-time highs. So you can see here that after coming up and testing this level, it had a brief pullback, but buyers stepped in, and I think we're just going to consolidate below that level for a little bit longer before breaking out. But I want to make something clear. When I talk about semiconductor stocks, there's been so much discussion around the strong performance that NVIDIA's had. So I think maybe some people who are I guess not doing their homework and just kind of reading what they're or reciting what they see on the TV or maybe read online, they may just think that NVIDIA is just dragging the entire sector up. But as you can see here, that's not true. So this is XSD. This is the equal weight semiconductor ETF. You can also see that it put in this basing pattern and starting to break out. And now it hasn't done as well as SMH, but it's still doing very, very well. And it's not too far off from all-time highs right now. You can see it's about 13%, and there's just not a lot of resistance between where we're at now and that level. So I think, if SMH breaks out to all-time highs, I think it's only a matter of time before XSD tests its prior all-time highs. So that's something to be mindful of. And because we have good breadth in the semiconductor space right now, I think this is a good time for active traders to look for quality setups within individual names. You don't just have to play the ETS. Of course, you can do that, but I also, my style is really to trade individual stocks. So I like to look for winners. And during my previous video, I shared a few stocks that I was trading personally and that I just like the setup. And so the Onto was one of those. You can see it was closed the week up 10.5%. So nice move there. KLAC, this is KLAC Corporation, ticker is KLAC, KLAC. It ended the week up about 6% at new all-time highs. So really nice action here. Didn't move up as much as Onto, but still, closed the week at all-time highs. So nothing to be, upset about there. LRCX, this is Lam Research. I had a good week as well. It ended the week up 5.6%. I actually think this one has a little bit more upside. You can see I had put in this big basing pattern, and then had this impulse move up, had a brief pullback, and now it's starting to paint a bull flag here. So I think it's only a matter of time before Lam Research tests those prior all-time highs. So that's about 13.5% from here. So I think this one has the potential for a continuation in the coming weeks. So does KLAC and Onto, but I think in this one, maybe because those ones have already ran a little bit and are all already trading at all-time highs. Depending on your strategy, this might be one you're looking at to test those previous all-time highs. So that'd be Lam Research. This is one I took. This is a smaller one, Latest Semiconductor Corporation, LSCC. It ended the week up about 13%, 12.6%. So a really nice move there. Closed the week at new all-time high, so at the highest weekly close ever. I want to see if it monthly was as well. Yeah, just barely had the highest monthly close ever. So I'm in this one, and I'm probably going to hold on to it. And even if it pulls back and maybe it takes a little bit more time to build out this handle within this cup and handle formation, I might look to add to it. We'll have to see how the week goes, but this is a name I'm in, and I'm liking for continuation. And another name I shared in that previous video would be Microchip Technology Company. Not the most original name, but a semiconductor. I think it's about 50, 60 billion. Don't quote me on that, but I think I had that number in the general area. And so it's a decent sized semiconductor company. I never hear anyone talk about it, but I just thought it looked really, really solid. And, it did have a very strong move. A lot of that move came on Friday, and it was able to close the week up 9.3% at new all-time highs. So this one's looking, to me, really, really good for continuation here. But those setups have already moved. So I'm going to share some new setups today because why not? There's just so many. It was actually hard to narrow this down. There's so many quality setups in the semiconductor space right now. If you wanted to, you could also play stocks like Rambus and Axcelis. That's ALSC. Those have been some of the leaders within the semiconductor space, but those have just, those have been, basically racing higher for several weeks and months now. And so I didn't share those because you need to be a little bit more skilled of a trader to get in those. So I thought I would just share some fresh blood, some stocks that are just starting to rise out of bases and that look good on the weeklies and both the dailies. So the first one I'm going to start with is Analog Device. I really like how this cup and handle pattern is setting up here. So you can see actually on the daily, you can see here it had this little trend line and broke out. It hasn't quite broken out to new all-time highs on the daily yet or the weekly, but I just really like how this cup and handle is shaping up. And so that would be Analog Devices. This is a $97 billion market cap. So not, pretty large cap, not super speculative. Like some of the names I'm going to get to in a second are a little bit smaller. So it's just, I'm going to share the market caps with you in case that's something you take into consideration. The next one would be Nova. This is NVMI. I'll just this is going to be a reoccurring theme throughout this video. You see these this big basing pattern, so you can see at our initial thrust out of that after reclaiming the rising 10 and 30 week, then try to break out and really potentially go up and test those prior all-time highs, but didn't quite succeed on its first attempt. But what we've done is we had this breakout, and then we've had a pullback, and you see it just came back and pulled back into support here, and now we closed the week back above the 10-day moving average. So I really like how this one's shaping up. And from here, this is about a 28% move to its prior all-time highs, and I think we can definitely get that within a matter of time. So this one's looking really good heading into the new week. KLIC, another one I like. So, just similar. The higher time frame setup on a lot of these is gonna be similar. Many of them are rising at a big multi-month basis. So we can see here that we're starting to climb out of that base. And I just like how this one's shaping up. This is a $3.4 billion company. When we look at it on the daily, I kind of like, or I do like this, this volume profile here. We've had some nice buying volume pour into this one lately. So just really like how this one's setting up. It's about a 27% move to its prior all-time highs. And just based off of what I'm seeing from the entire industry group, I think it's just a matter of time before a KLIC or at least retest those levels, if not, breaks out to new all-time highs. So that's definitely one to watch. This is a name I've shared on my Twitter before. Actually, may have shared this. Yeah, I've shared this on Twitter multiple times. One of the reasons I shared this recently is because I think it's an interesting short squeeze candidate. So this is a semiconductor company with a $1.1 billion market cap, and it has a 21% short interest. But what's interesting here is this is the strongest semiconductor stock over the past year. I think over the past 12 months, it's up more than 400%, and it's just blown the rest of the industry group out of the water. So I think it's just very interesting that this company that's been massively outperformed companies like NVIDIA has such a high short interest. I don't know what these people are thinking, but I'm not brave enough to short one of the strongest stocks in the entire market. So I think the short sellers are going to get their butts handed to them pretty soon. And as I haven't discussed too much with regard to the fundamentals yet in this video, but I think one of the reasons the stock has done so well lately is it's, according to FinViz, it's projected to have earnings growth for this year of 494%. So investors, both everyday investors and institutional investors, really love that kind of explosive earnings growth. So definitely a name to keep an eye on. But as far as the technicals, you can see this stock was an early leader, so it came and actually broke out to all-time highs back in November, which is when a lot of stocks were just bottoming, and then kept running from there and ran up into March before pulling back, and then it's pulled back. It looked, I don't have the circle draw on here, but to me, this was looking like a potential false breakdown because you could see it, kind of took out those November 2021 highs, broke down, and then that dip was just gobbled up, and it reclaimed the rising 30-week and 10-week moving average. Now it's more recently it's flipped those March highs and had two consecutive weekly closes above it, and on the daily. You can see it's looking really nice too. Had some nice buying volume come in on Friday and had this little bull flag pattern here, and it broke out of that. So that's one I really like heading into the new week. And then INTT Corporation, I think this is our last one for this video. Before we drill down and look at the daily and the weekly on this, I just want to zoom out and show you one of the reasons the stock really has my attention. So this is the second best performing semiconductor stock over the past year, second only to Air, which was the name we just covered. And it hasn't even broken out on a higher time frame basis yet, which I find really interesting. So you can see here, this is the chart that goes back all the way, the entire life of this company as a publicly traded stock. And you can see this past month, so the month of June closed on Friday, we actually had our highest monthly close ever since 2000. So it's starting to break out of a 23-year base. So if you believe in technical analysis like I do, this is representing a major change in character. So that's on the monthly time frame. So I think that's very interesting. When we zoom in a little bit closer on the weekly, we can just see that this stock's been super strong, really strong uptrend with minimal, the dips on this one have been pretty shallow. And then when we look over on the daily, we could see, a similar trend. We've just been gliding higher in this uptrend. And dips have been pretty shallow in the past few days, or maybe, a little over a week or two. We've started to put in this, bull flag formation within the context of this rising uptrend. So yeah, this is definitely a name to keep an eye on. Just be mindful that this is a smaller semiconductor stock. This is the smallest one by far that I've shared, and this has a market cap of 294 million. So a little bit more speculative, but just manage the risk however you do that if you do decide to get involved. This is a name I've watched before. I don't currently have a position in, but I'm definitely keeping a very close eye on it. But that's it for today. I hope you found this video informative, and I'll be sure to be doing more of these in the near future. So until then.